And that's when I discovered that we can revisit a third part of what we are built on. We're built on three parts, Like I said, there's a trinity to everything. The PEP formula itself is a trinity. The trinity is of body, which we identify with very easily, mind, which we identify in a slightly subtler way. We know we are happy, we know we are sad, but we don't really know what we can do about it. And the spirit, the body, mind, and spirit. The spirit we know the least about. Now, on page 61 of this book, we've got something called the spire pyramid, which is like a pyramid, but it's like a spire as well, because that's how much we know about the body, lesser about the mind, and the least about the spirit, about what drives us. And when I discovered that there could be answers on this plane to problems of the mind and of the body, I started exploring this with some spiritual masters that I was fortunate enough to learn from in India. And one of them guided me to the Tibetan masters who had been practicing working with spirit, who had kept spirituality alive. They hadn't converted it into a religion, which, as I said in my interview with Angelo, religion is the fossil of spirituality. It is dead and beaten, ritualized, and there's not much movement in it. Whereas spirit is our innate form. It moves. If you see how much our body moves, well, that's quite a lot of movement. How much our mind moves, that's a hell of a lot of movement. Your mind can be in Pluto in 1 second, in a fraction of a nanosecond. And then if you go up, how much the spirit moves, we don't have scientific measures for it. We don't even have units for it. So we can't talk about it. But that's the power of involving spirit. Around this universe is consciousness. Think of it like a huge, massive ocean, and you are but a drop of it. The drop is no different from the ocean. But when the drop feels that separation, that's the ego speaking. I am the drop. I am the wave. I'm going to crush this rock and sort of make a sand dune out of it. But in reality, that wave comes, it just beats itself up, and it finds peace only when it pulls back into the pacificity of the deep, blue, tranquil ocean. So why don't you just do it? Find that pacificity without all the stress. That'll keep you energized. That's the secret of the wise masters. Energy. But what you need to understand in this masterclass are two things. One, that when you have energy, you don't have stress. These are like on a seesaw. They are antipodal. They are like playing a tug of war. Either stress would win or energy would win. Both can't win. When you have low spirits, you have high stress. When you have high spirits, there's no space for stress. You don't even think of the stress, right? So how do you work your energy high at will? That's what the Qigong programs are about. But how do you identify stress, and how do you create daily habits that help you eliminate stress from your life? That's something that we cover in the Inner Power Blueprint. So this blueprint is a blueprint of 6 steps that will help you reframe your state of stress through how you interact with yourself and with others. That's what happens with a lot of us in our own lives. We don't get into the right habits, the right KPIs, the right things to do every day, which help us reach our goals every week. And even if we do them tactically. We don't do them strategically. Now, what does that mean? Strategically means they're all unified in the strategic umbrella of everything serving a purpose. Tactically means they're going off on tangents. So you're very busy being busy. And then you wonder, why am I doing all this? Closer to our reality in the sales world, for example, one of the master salesmen of our century, Zig Ziglar, said you can get whatever you want in life if you can help enough other people get what they want. Your purpose depends on how you contribute to everybody and how that aligns with how you make things implementable so that you know you're always guided by purpose. Now, what's purpose? The driving spirit of any human being is why they do what they do. Man is a social animal. I learned that in social studies when I was really small, grade 5 or something. You know, if we get lonely, we get ostracized, we're out of society, that's the surest way of killing anybody at the spirit level. Then they're in low spirits, they don't do anything, and it's practically a death row. But when they're fueled by the social purpose, and that's where we're talking about contribution, then they rise in spirits. They get more energy from there, and they contribute that energy and become productive in society, become happier. So in fact, the byline of this book is how the presence of absence brings you fulfillment, freedom, and flow. That fulfillment, that happiness comes because you know how to get over any of the bottlenecks that are presented in life, by life to you. A part of this PEP formula, it's a trinity, right? The E is this energy. Now, what's energy? We've been talking about it. We've been talking about how man is a social animal, and through purpose, we get energized, and through the energy that we have, we achieve things. Energy is spirit. We are in high spirits, we are in low spirits, we are free spirits, all of that. We use energy to achieve things. It's the top of that spire pyramid. We know very little about it. It's a little like steam, very subtle, you can hardly see it, but it can move a steam engine. It's very powerful. You know, in fact, if you extend that analogy into another trinity, it's steam, water, and ice. Ice is gross, that's the body. But when you put a steam jet on a block of ice, you can melt the ice.